In Warframe, we get to enjoy a great diversity of secondary weapons, so you can pretty much pick and choose depending on your own style, though some weapons grab a bit more spotlight than others. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar, and today we're going to be diving deeper into this Mastery Rank 10 secondary weapon, the Vasto Prime. I'm going to be covering a couple of builds, something cheap and affordable, something anybody can get into, but of course we also have the quote-unquote endgame setup with a Riven. That being said though, please keep in mind that my builds and guides usually follow a more new player-friendly approach, simply because I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. So if you're a veteran of the game and already know most of this stuff, then please have a little patience. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the Vasto Prime. Let's begin by checking out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. As you can see, the Vasto is a 6-shooter and it's extremely accurate, the same level of accuracy as the fabled Lex Prime as well as the Pandero. Pinpoint accuracy, absolutely bloody beautiful. And check out the recoil at full fire rate again without any mods equipped. As you can see, it's really not that terrible, and if you just fight it a little bit, you will be able to control it. Of course, alternatively, you can just go shot by shot and you will see that the bullet lands almost in the exact same spot every single time, and this was roughly 25-30 meters, so it's definitely quite nice. And you will see that the reload is lightning quick as well, even though you only have 6 shots in a clip, or in a barrel in the case of the Vasto. Let's jump into stats to see precisely what we're dealing with. First of all, mod capacity is 60 out of 60, and if your Vasto Prime only has 30 out of 30, then jump into actions and install an Orokin Catalyst. This one can be obtained from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. Lastly, you have the option of paying 20 plat to have one installed. Next, my weapon has been formatted a total of 5 times, but this was done more for the purpose of testing. 2 maximum of 3 format should do it. The Vasto Prime by default comes with 2 V symbols or Madurai. Accuracy is 16.0, and again the number might mislead you a little bit because it's not sky high, but this is the exact same accuracy as the Pandero and Lex Prime, and as you saw, it is pinpoint accurate. Critical chance is nice at 22%, and so is the multiplier at 2.4x. Fire rate 5.42 with a magazine of 6 and a reload speed of 1.0. Now it is a bit annoying reloading all the time, especially if you go for rapid fire, but that will open up some nice possibilities for arcanes later on. Riven disposition is 5 out of 5. Apparently the Vasto is not very popular, which is weird. Well, maybe not that weird. Currently the Vasto Prime is vaulted, and his little brother, the normal version of the Vasto, well, it's nowhere near as good as this one. Status chance is 22%, which I would call decent towards good. Trigger semi, of course. Now for the IPS or the default damage. You have a high amount of slash, 46.2, and a, well, low amount of puncture together with impact. So later on we are going to be able to get some nice slashes out of the Vasto, but let's start slapping on some mods. With Hornet Strike, 220% worth of mandatory on mostly any secondary weapon. Next we're gonna go into multi-shot, because when it comes to damage, well, you don't really have that many fantastic options, sadly. Now stay away from Magnum Force. This one fully maxed out is gonna give you 66% extra damage at the cost of 33% accuracy. The accuracy cost isn't that big of a deal. Unfortunately, 66% extra damage is simply too low. Take a look at Augur Pack, 90% extra damage plus the benefit of the set. This would be a much better option, so you can slap this one on as well. For now, however, we're going into multi-shot. The best thing on, well, mostly anything. Honestly, it really is that good. Barrel diffusion with 120% multi-shot, and we're also going to be slapping on Lethal Torrent with 60% fire rate and 60% multi-shot. Now, if you guys still don't have this one, pops up on alerts every so often. I believe they are nightmare missions. Alternatively, go to the trade chat, 10 to 15 plat max for this one. The fire rate, not really all that huge of a benefit, simply because I am going to be bumping into that reload time. Then again, if I slap on Arcane Awakening, I'm going to be wanting to reload a whole lot more often, so there is that to take into account. In any case, Lethal Torrent is worth it just for the 60% multi-shot alone, in this case, that is. Next, crit chance and crit damage. As I said before, we have nice crit chance and nice crit multi. Pistol Gambit, 120% critical chance for pistols. Now, if you guys have Prime versions, then by all means slap on your Prime versions. We're gonna keep these for the Riven setup. We got a high crit chance now, well, decent crit chance now with 48.4%. Let's slap on Target Cracker to amplify the multi to 3.8x. Now the default version of Target Cracker is a bit underpowered if you ask me. 60% critical damage really isn't all that much. Now if you're feeling strong and all whatnot, then you can go for Sharpened Bullet, 75% crit damage while aiming for 9 seconds. The problem with this one, it's an on-kill effect. I leave this one up to you guys. Yes, it's a greater benefit, but it's not as reliable as Target Cracker. Hydraulic Crosshairs is another option to get some more crit chance, 135% crit chance while aiming for 9 seconds, which is greater than Pistol Gambit, but again this one is on headshot and while aiming. Again, less reliable than the normal version. This one can be farmed from the Lua spy mission called Pavlov, link in the cards now for an easy mode way to farm it. Rotation A, you got about a 12% chance to drop. I think it was 12% drop or 18% chance to drop. Okay, we got crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot. What follows next is elemental damage, and elemental damage should always be slapped on depending on where you're going and who you're fighting. For example, if you guys are up against the Infested, they have 4 health types. Each of these 4 health types have different resistances and vulnerabilities to damage, and you can check that info out on the wiki. Against Infested, more often than not, heat is your best bet. Something like Prime Heated Charge, if you have, will do wonderful against them. Now, let's talk about the Corpus faction, the guys with big shields. Against them, you can build magnetic damage, which will deal extra damage against shields, but you can also build gas, which on a status proc will bypass their shields and deal damage to their health. Or you can just build Toxin, which again bypasses the shields and deals damage directly to their HP. This is why the Corpus more often than not are taken easily out of a fight, though their nullifiers can sometimes spell trouble. Next, let's talk about the Grineer, the toughest targets in Warframe. On Grineer units, you will find 2 armor types, Alloy, which is weak to radiation damage, and Ferrite armor, which is weak to Corrosive. More often than not, against Grineer, Corrosive is your best bet, which is the combination between electricity and Toxin. So let's get some, since that's what we're going to be testing against today. You have a choice. Should I go for the 90 mods, which offer more damage, or the 60-60 mods, which offer less damage but a good chunk of status chance? It really depends exactly on your level, and when I say that, it depends on the content you're currently doing, because there is a general rule in Warframe that states the following: level 100 and under, 90 mods should give you better results. Over 100, then the 60-60 mods, so you can get more procs, more applications of the Corrosive, which will reduce the enemy's armor. And again, pick and choose depending on where you're going. I have tested against level 100 plus, so we're gonna go for the 60-60 mods. Jolt, 60% electricity and 60% status chance. The problem with Jolt is that it cannot be obtained from in-game through farming, for example. This one can only be bought from Battlekittier, the Void Trader. He doesn't bring it all that often, and normally Jolt on the trade chat goes between 50 and 60 plat, but it can also reach outstanding prices like 100 plat if Battle didn't bring it for a long while. So while it's cheap, definitely get it, it is worthwhile. Got my electricity, let's jump into Toxin, and this one is a lot more accessible and less expensive. Pistol Pestilence, 60% Toxin and 60% status chance, farmable from Corrupted Vor in the Void, if not from the trade chat, 10 to 15 plat on an absolute maximum. Now I got my Corrosive, 709, and my status chance got increased to 84.3%. The last mod slot is what I like to call an option slot. By all intents and purposes, please cater the weapon to your own gameplay style. For example, a lot of players like Seeker, 2.1 meters worth of punch through. That means that my bullets are going to go from my initial target and keep traveling for 2.1 meters. So I'm going to be able to kill multiple targets in a line. That is a huge DPS increase. Now, if you can't stand the recoil on a weapon, well, especially on a pistol, you can go for something like Steady Hands, which will reduce the recoil by 60%. From my point of view, on the Vasto, that is not necessary. The recoil isn't all that bad. Even when rapid firing, you can still control it if you just fight your mouse a little bit. Not recommended, but if you guys want to go for this, then by all means do so. Another good option is Augur Pact, the one we talked about earlier. 90% extra damage, cannot go wrong with this one. But I'm going to be recommending to you guys to further increase your elemental combo as long as your targets are vulnerable to it. In my case, I'm going to be hitting Ferrite armor. That means that my corrosive damage will get amplified by 75%. Just my corrosive, not the whole thing, just the corrosive. Puncture by default, by the way, deals 50% extra against armor targets, so keep that one in mind as well. So if I want to increase my elemental combo, I'm going to be needing more toxin or more electricity through a 90 mod. So can either use convulsion or pathogen rounds. It doesn't really matter which one of these two you put on, the amount will simply wash into the corrosive. And this is gonna be our first setup, so why don't we test it? Oh, by the way, hydraulic crosshairs, absolutely forgot to mention this one. If you want more to go heavily into crit, then by all means hydraulic crosshairs can take the last slot. But in our case, this is gonna be the best way to go. I'm gonna be spawning in Corrupted Heavy Gunner, and these guys will be level 120. Let's pause the AI and simulate. But you know what? I'm gonna switch away from Volt because his passive kinda gives me a small DPS increase, and I hate cheating with Warframe buffs and stuff like that. So we're gonna go into Mirage, make her look nice and pretty, and make sure we are not skewing the test results with any arcanes, auras, or stuff like that. There we go. Now we are ready. Oh damn, that sword is off. Well, I'm gonna have to fix that one a tad later. So let's see what the Vasto can do. First, shot by shot, and then rapid fire. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, I am getting slashes on the target, and I'm also getting corrosive applications. Actually, I'm getting more slashes than I am getting corrosive apps, and I'll explain to you why that is a tad later. So that took what, like 9 bullets, something like that. Now let's go for rapid fire. You can use rapid fire on PC. I don't know you guys on console how you can manage this, but on PC you can make macros through gaming software such as Logitech gaming software, SteelSeries, and so on and so forth, just to rapid fire a semi-weapon. And of course that will be interesting. Just keep in mind that you need to aim properly and you need to control the recoil as well. Now for an MR10 weapon, I gotta say this is definitely quite impressive. But do you notice something? The Vasto really wants to slash. I'm getting a lot of slashes on the target. For example, I knocked out, I don't know, what is that, 50% of his health, and then the slashes gave me about another 15%. Absolutely bloody beautiful. When a weapon wants to slash, then you can augment the build to cater to that slash. So why don't we do that next? But first, a quick explanation on how those status procs work, because that might seem a tad confusing. So first of all, my corrosive is the highest on the pecking order, 1.2k, and you might believe you're gonna be getting a lot of corrosive procs, but in actuality, impact, puncture, and slash, the IPS, have a 4 times greater chance of proccing over elemental types such as corrosive. So when you're looking at this slash and thinking about what proc am I gonna get off the status chance, think of it as times 4, so 1.6k. So you are going to be getting slash procs over corrosive procs in the case of this build. When you build a weapon for slash or want to emphasize the slash, then it's a smart idea to build viral. Viral on a status proc will decrease the maximum health of a target to 50%. So in a way, your slashes will be dealing double damage, as long as the viral doesn't slip off the target before it bleeds out. So let's build viral, and that's going to be very simple. I'm going to go into cold with frostbite. Now frostbite is the 60/60 cold mod, and I'm simply going to swap out jolt. Now I got myself some viral, the corrosive is gone, and I'm going to be removing pathogen rounds as well. Now when you're building a weapon for viral and slash, you're not looking for damage amount. You're not going to get a damage amplification for the viral against ferrite armor in this case. So what I want is even more damage, and as we said earlier, more damage through the use of Augur Pact, and you can go for something like this. I got my viral, I got higher slash value, I got higher impact, puncture, pretty much more of everything, and we're gonna test it out just like this. Oh, and another good idea, by the way, if you want like the absolute maximum damage, etc, then you can slap on Prime Heated Charge. Yes, if you have it, by all means, go for it. And let's see what this one can do. Let's unload 6 shots again. First shot by shot, and then we're gonna go for rapid fire. As you can see, I didn't get a viral app, even though I'm using the 60/60 mod, so it's not entirely reliable, but now I did, and let's go for a tad of rapid fire to see how many slashes we can get on the target. That's gonna be more than enough, and the target will bleed out. Now from what I noticed, ideally when building a weapon like this, you want to hit your target till it's about 50%, just like this. So that took about 3 clips, and then let it bleed out. But as you can see, the viral slipping off the target will mean that you will have to reshoot it. This is an option you can go for. This is a worthwhile build. Just keep in mind that it does have some disadvantages. players that like to do endurance runs and stay a lot of time in defense missions or survival missions usually go for these bleed builds simply because, well, the bleeds don't really care about the enemy's armor all that much. It bypasses it altogether, so there is that to take into account. I'm gonna be recommending the Corrosive setup, but this is entirely based on preference. Go for whatever you guys like. And once again, for the final slot, if you have Prime Heated Charge, do not ignore it. This is a huge DPS increase, even if the target doesn't have a vulnerability. In my case, Heat doesn't have a modifier against Ferrite armor. It doesn't do less, it doesn't do more. Now, a couple of more explanations. You might be tempted to go into main more slash, right? For a slash build, that seems like kind of a no-brainer, but you need to understand that adding percentage based slash to a weapon does nothing but increase its status chance. It adds no real damage. So your slash amounts will be the same, simply your status chance for the slash goes up. And you can test that one out for yourself if you so desire. I guarantee it, it doesn't add any damage. Now, this would be worth it, my slash wasn't the highest, but even without main, with Auger Pack for example, my slash is 529. While the viral may be higher at 900, when it comes to procs, this is treated as a 2000, so keep that one in mind. And with that out of the way, let's jump into a Riven setup. And my Riven is a Vasto Acri Santinok with punch through, critical damage and multi-shot. Quite decent. Crit damage and multi-shot for the Vasto Prime is always nice. And while a lot of players ignore punch through, and by all intents and purposes I'm guilty of this sometimes as well, it can be a huge DPS increase. At times it is situational, but more often than not this will increase your damage by a staggering amount. So keep that one in mind, and you can always go for Seeker. Prime Pistol Gambit together with Prime Target Cracker took the spots of the normal versions, and as you can see this is a slash viral combo, so I kept Pistol Pestilence together with Frostbite. So let's test one more time against the exact same targets before we pump up everything with Warframe buffs. Now you'll see that a Riven such as this one will make quite the difference simply because this is a Dispo 5 weapon, and look at all those slashes. I emptied 2 clips, now let's not make use of that punch through we got, let's hit them from the side like this. So 50% health, 60, going down, viral app is still on, and the last slash will finish the target. And of course I recommend using rapid fire. When it comes to ammo, I didn't really have much issue with the Vasto, but I only stood like 30 to 45 minutes I think we stood in Kuva, and I was still good on ammo. If that is the case, then you guys can go for something like Carrier together with ammo case, and that should fix all your problems. Rapid fire once again. For an MR10 weapon, this is absolutely outstanding. It does great amount of slashes, good amount of damage. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend the Vasto Prime. It doesn't seem to be like a too difficult weapon to control. Again, that recoil isn't really all that bad, and I never felt the need for steady hands. You have some build diversity, so you can go for corrosive or you can go for viral and slashes, and the weapon will perform absolutely wonderfully. Now, as we said before, we're gonna pump up everything with Warframe buffs, and I'm gonna switch to this build. Pistol Lamp, 27% extra damage to pistols. This is an aura, everybody in the party will be receiving the benefit, and it is stackable. When it comes to arcanes, you have a couple of options. First of all, Arcane Precision. On headshot, 80% chance for plus 120% damage to pistols for 8 seconds. Farmable from the third Eidolon down on seat is currently on the trade chat, going for about 100 and 120 plat. But by all means, guys, I don't know all the prices by heart. Check Warframe Market. And the second option will be Arcane Awakening. As you saw, we do reload quite often. On reload, 40% chance for plus 100% damage to pistols for 16 seconds. Now, alternatively, what you guys can do is go for Arcane Avenger. This is one of my most favorite arcanes in the entire game. On damage, 14% chance for 30% critical chance for 8 seconds. And with a Riven such as mine, this will work beautiful. But again, the combo I recommend is Awakening together with Precision. So we're gonna test things out like this. And of course, we're going to be activating Mirage's third ability for a massive damage increase of 514% as well as the clones. And I'm going to go shot by shot just for the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my god, 5 shots. 1, 2, 3. There you go. There's the slash proc. Absolutely bloody insane. Look at the value of those slashes. Unfreaking real, 10,000 plus. And of course, in a mission, I'm not exactly going to stop shooting my target. I'm gonna make sure they're going to die. So here is rapid fire. absolutely bloody insane. I love this weapon. Honestly, it's so easy to use, so comfortable, and you also have that build diversity, which for me at least is important when I get bored with a specific build. In any case, that's gonna do it for the build guide on the Vasto Prime. Now you should know everything you need to build your weapon. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means leave it in the comment section down below. I can't realistically promise you that it will be done by next time or even within a week, but I will be reading through each and every comment. But until next time, guys, bye bye.